Alex squinted at the screen of his old laptop, the words on the practice TOEFL test swimming before his eyes. "What does meticulous mean?" he muttered, his voice tinged with frustration. The timer on the screen ticked down mercilessly, a reminder of how far he still had to go. He knew the answer wasn't A or C, but between B and D, he was completely lost. The truth was, Alex had failed the TOEFL not once, not twice, but 5 times already. He was running out of time, money, and patience. Each attempt had drained him not only financially but emotionally. His parents, though supportive at first, had started to question whether this dream of teaching abroad was even worth it. "Why don't you just stay here and teach at the local school?" his father had said last night during dinner. "You're wasting money we don't have." But Alex couldn't give up. Since he was a teenager, he dreamed of walking into a classroom in a foreign country, teaching English to students who might look to him the way he had once looked to his own teacher, Mr. Samuels. Mr. Samuels had been the first person to tell Alex that he had potential. "You might struggle now," he'd said, "but I see a fire in you, Alex. Don't let anyone extinguish it." That fire was dimming, though, with every failed attempt. TOEFL was harder than Alex had ever imagined. It wasn't just about knowing English. It was about mastering it, reading dense academic texts, listening to fast-talking speakers, and writing essays that actually made sense. The following day, Alex woke up early. The sun hadn't risen yet, but he needed to get in at least 2 hours of studying before heading to his part-time job at the local cafe. He worked as a barista, earning just enough money to pay for his English classes and the next TOEFL test fee. As he brewed his morning tea, he glanced at his small desk in the corner of his room. It was covered in crumpled notes, grammar books, and printouts of TOEFL practice tests. A sticky note on the wall read in bold letters, "Dream big, work hard." It was a mantra Alex had tried to live by, but lately, even those words felt hollow. He sat down, opened his TOEFL preparation book, and flipped to the reading comprehension section. The passage was about deep-sea ecosystems, and as usual, the sentences were long, complex, and full of unfamiliar words. He read the first paragraph 3 times, trying to make sense of it, but his mind wandered to the memory of his last test. The testing center had been cold that day, and Alex's palms had been sweaty as he clutched his ID card. He remembered sitting in front of the computer, staring at the screen during the listening section. The speaker's voice had been fast, her accent difficult to understand. By the time the question popped up, Alex had forgotten half of what she'd said. When he walked out of the center, his shoulders slumped, he already knew he hadn't passed. 2 weeks later, the email confirmed it, score, 61. Minimum required, 80. Stop thinking about it, Alex muttered to himself, snapping back to the present. He knew dwelling on past failures wouldn't help. But it was hard not to feel defeated. He tried everything, attending language classes, studying grammar rules, even watching English TV shows with subtitles. Yet, no matter how hard he worked, his scores barely improved. His friends weren't exactly encouraging, either. "Why do you even bother?" his childhood friend, Ravi, had said. "You're wasting your money. Just stay here in the village, man. You could teach kids here and be done with it." But Alex didn't want to stay. He wanted to see the world, to experience new cultures, to prove to himself that he was capable of achieving something extraordinary. He wanted to become the kind of teacher who could inspire his students, just as Mr. Samuels had inspired him. One evening, after another grueling shift at the cafe, Alex sat down at his desk to study. He opened his laptop and typed into the search bar, "How to improve your TOEFL score." Among the many results, one video caught his attention: "How I passed the TOEFL after failing 7 times." The thumbnail showed a smiling young woman holding her TOEFL certificate. Alex clicked on it, feeling a flicker of hope. The woman in the video, named Sarah, shared her story of repeated failure and eventual success. What struck Alex the most was her unconventional approach to learning English. Instead of relying solely on textbooks, she had immersed herself in the language in creative ways, listening to podcasts, speaking with native speakers online, and even writing her own short stories in English. "This isn't just about passing a test," Sarah said in the video. "It's about falling in love with the language. When you enjoy the process, improvement comes naturally." Her words resonated with Alex. He realized he'd been treating English like a chore, something to be conquered rather than embraced. Maybe that was the problem. The next day, Alex decided to try something different. Instead of diving straight into grammar exercises, he started his morning by listening to an English podcast about travel. At first, he understood only half of what the speakers were saying, but he didn't let it discourage him. He wrote down the words he didn't know and looked them up later. In the evening, he watched a movie in English, something he hadn't done in months. He chose a simple, feel-good film and turned on the subtitles. As he watched, he paused frequently to repeat phrases out loud, trying to mimic the actor's pronunciation. For the first time in weeks, studying didn't feel like a burden. It felt fun. Over the next few months, Alex's new approach began to pay off. His vocabulary expanded, his listening skills improved, and, most importantly, his confidence grew. He joined an online language exchange platform where he could practice speaking with native English speakers. At first, he was nervous and made countless mistakes, but his partners were patient and encouraging. One of his language partners, a teacher named Emily from Canada, became a close friend and mentor. She gave him tips on improving his writing and even offered to review his TOEFL essays. "Remember," she told him during one of their video calls, "progress isn't linear. You'll have ups and downs, but every step forward counts." Alex took her advice to heart. He started writing short stories in English, drawing inspiration from his own life. One story, about a boy who dreams of flying but keeps falling, felt especially personal. When he shared it with Emily, she said, "This is beautiful, Alex. You're not just learning English, you're becoming a storyteller." With renewed determination, Alex registered for his 9th TOEFL attempt. This time, he walked into the testing center with his head held high. He felt more prepared than ever, but when the results came in 2 weeks later, his heart sank. Score, 78. Minimum required, 80. It was so close, yet not enough. For a moment, Alex wanted to give up. But then he remembered Sarah's words, "When you enjoy the process, improvement comes naturally." He wasn't done yet. The day of his 10th attempt felt different. Alex wasn't nervous this time. He approached each section with calm focus, drawing on everything he'd learned. When the listening section began, he didn't panic. He took deep breaths, listened carefully, and trusted himself. 2 weeks later, the email arrived. With trembling hands, Alex opened it. His eyes widened as he read the score, 85. He had done it. After years of struggle and 10 attempts, he had finally passed the TOEFL. Less than a year later, Alex found himself standing in front of a classroom in a bustling city in South Korea. His students, a group of curious middle schoolers, greeted him with bright smiles and a chorus of, "Good morning, teacher." Teaching abroad was everything Alex had dreamed of and more. The cultural differences were challenging at first, but he embraced them with an open mind. He shared his story with his students, encouraging them to persevere in their own studies. Years later, Alex sat down to write a blog post titled, "Failed TOEFL 10 Times, Now Teaching Abroad." As he typed, he reflected on his journey, the failures, the lessons, and the people who had helped him along the way. He ended the post with a message to anyone chasing their dreams: failure isn't the end. It's just a step on the path to success. Keep going, and you'll get there. Even though Alex had passed the TOEFL, self-doubt lingered as he prepared for his next step, applying for teaching jobs abroad. He spent countless nights polishing his resume, writing cover letters, and researching schools in countries where English teachers were in high demand. South Korea, Japan, Vietnam, and Thailand topped his list. But as Alex scrolled through job postings, he couldn't shake the nagging thought that his failures would overshadow his success. What if they reject me because I needed 10 tries to pass the TOEFL, he wondered aloud one evening. His mother, who was folding clothes nearby, looked up and said, "Alex, do you know why you're going to succeed? Because you didn't give up. That's what matters." Her words stayed with him. Alex realized that the same resilience that helped him pass the TOEFL would carry him through this new challenge. The application process was grueling. Each school required different documents, from university transcripts to recommendation letters. Alex also needed to record an introductory video to showcase his personality and teaching skills. Recording the video was nerve-wracking. He spent hours rehearsing, trying to sound confident while speaking in English. After dozens of takes, he finally recorded one he was satisfied with. In the video, he shared his story, how he had struggled with English but never gave up, how that journey had made him passionate about teaching, and how he wanted to inspire students to overcome their own challenges. Alex sent his applications to 10 schools and waited. Days turned into weeks, and his email inbox remained empty. He started to lose hope, but then, one morning, a message popped up: "Congratulations. We'd love to have you join our team at Bright Horizons Academy in Seoul, South Korea." Alex couldn't believe it. He had done it. His dream of teaching abroad was finally coming true. Arriving in Seoul was a whirlwind of emotions. The bustling city was unlike anything Alex had ever experienced. The neon lights, crowded subway stations, and unfamiliar food all felt overwhelming at first. But Alex reminded himself that this was what he had worked so hard for. His first day at Bright Horizons Academy was unforgettable. The staff welcomed him warmly, and his students were eager to meet their new teacher. Standing in front of the classroom, Alex introduced himself with a smile. "Hello, everyone. My name is Alex, and I'll be your English teacher. I'm excited to learn with you." The students giggled at his accent, but Alex didn't mind. He saw their curiosity and enthusiasm as a challenge to make his lessons engaging and fun. Adjusting to life in South Korea wasn't easy. Alex struggled with the language barrier, the fast-paced lifestyle, and the cultural differences. One evening, he accidentally ordered a dish that was so spicy it brought tears to his eyes. His colleagues laughed when he told them the story the next day. But Alex was determined to adapt. He started learning basic Korean phrases, tried new foods, and explored the city during his free time. Over time, he began to feel more at home. Alex's teaching style quickly won over his students. He used creative methods to make learning English enjoyable. For one lesson, he asked the students to write their own short stories in English, just as he had done during his TOEFL preparation. The results were heartwarming. Some students wrote about their dreams, while others wrote funny stories that had the whole class laughing. One student, a shy girl named Minji, hesitated to participate at first. But Alex encouraged her gently, telling her, "Mistakes are part of learning. You don't have to be perfect." By the end of the semester, Minji had gained enough confidence to give a presentation in English, and Alex couldn't have been prouder. On the one-year anniversary of his arrival in South Korea, Alex sat down in his tiny apartment to reflect on how far he had come. He remembered the countless nights he had spent studying, the moments of doubt and frustration, and the joy of finally passing the TOEFL. He thought about the people who had supported him along the way, his parents, his mentor Emily, and even Sarah from the YouTube video. Without them, he might have given up. As Alex looked around his apartment, he realized that every challenge he had faced had been worth it. He was living his dream, teaching in a foreign country and making a difference in the lives of his students. Alex's story began to spread beyond his classroom. During a teacher's workshop, he shared his journey with other educators. "I failed the TOEFL 10 times, he told them. But those failures taught me resilience, and that's what I try to pass on to my students." His colleagues were inspired by his determination. One teacher said, "Your story reminds me why I became a teacher in the first place, to help students believe in themselves." Encouraged by their feedback, Alex started writing a blog about his experiences. He titled it, "From Failure to Fulfillment: My Journey as a Teacher Abroad." The blog quickly gained a following, with readers from around the world reaching out to share their own stories of perseverance. Alex also began offering free online workshops for students preparing for the TOEFL. He shared tips and strategies, but more importantly, he encouraged them to keep going, no matter how many times they failed. One of his workshop attendees, a young woman from India named Priya, messaged him after passing her TOEFL. "Your story gave me hope," she wrote. "Thank you for showing me that failure isn't the end." Over the years, Alex came to see his journey as part of a bigger picture. His struggles with the TOEFL had shaped him into a better teacher and a more compassionate person. He realized that the lessons he had learned, about resilience, patience, and the value of hard work, were lessons he could pass on to others. One day, while walking through the streets of Seoul, Alex spotted a small cafe with a sign that read, "Dream big, work hard." He smiled, remembering the sticky note on his desk back home. His journey wasn't over, he still had so much to learn and experience, but he was proud of how far he had come. Teaching in South Korea wasn't without its difficulties. While Alex enjoyed connecting with his students, he quickly realized that the job came with its own set of challenges. Some of his students were highly motivated, but others struggled with learning English and showed little interest in the subject. One student in particular, Jaeho, was a source of constant frustration. Jaeho was bright but disruptive. He often interrupted class with jokes, refused to do his homework, and seemed to challenge Alex at every turn. "Why do we even need to learn English?" Jaeho asked one day, leaning back in his chair. "I'm not going to use it in real life." Alex paused, unsure of how to respond. He knew that many students felt this way, but Jaeho's words stung because they reminded Alex of his own struggles with motivation in the past. He decided to approach the problem differently. Instead of reprimanding Jaeho, Alex tried to understand him better. During lunch one day, Alex sat next to him in the cafeteria. "What do you want to do when you grow up?" Alex asked. Jaeho shrugged. "I don't know. Maybe play video games. I'm good at that." Alex smiled. "Did you know there are professional gamers who play internationally? They have to speak English to compete in tournaments." Jaeho looked skeptical. "Really?" "Yep," Alex said. "And not just gamers. A lot of jobs today require English because it's the language people use to communicate across the world. Learning it can open doors for you. Even if you don't see it now, it might be useful later." Jaeho didn't say much, but over the next few weeks, Alex noticed small changes. Jaeho started paying more attention in class and even asked questions occasionally. It wasn't a complete transformation, but it was a start. Alex also made an effort to create a supportive classroom environment. He introduced a "mistake of the day" activity, where students would share a funny or interesting mistake they had made while learning English. At first, the students were hesitant, but when Alex shared his own embarrassing mistakes, like the time he confused dessert and desert in a TOEFL essay, they laughed and began to open up. By normalizing mistakes, Alex helped his students feel more comfortable taking risks with the language. He noticed that even the shyest students, like Minji, began participating more actively in class. Outside of work, Alex continued to grow as a person. Living in a foreign country was a constant learning experience, and he embraced every opportunity to step out of his comfort zone. One of Alex's biggest challenges was learning Korean. He realized early on that speaking the local language would not only make his daily life easier but also help him connect with his students and colleagues. He signed up for an evening Korean class and spent hours practicing basic phrases. At first, he struggled with pronunciation and grammar, much like his students struggled with English. But over time, he improved. One day, during a staff meeting, Alex surprised his colleagues by giving a short speech in Korean. Though his grammar wasn't perfect, they applauded his effort. "You're setting a great example for your students," his supervisor told him. "You're showing them that learning a new language is possible with hard work." During weekends, Alex explored South Korea. He visited historical sites like Gyeongbokgung Palace, hiked in the mountains, and tried traditional dishes like bibimbap and kimchi stew. Each new experience deepened his appreciation for the culture and strengthened his resolve to make the most of his time abroad. One memorable trip was a visit to Jeju Island, a popular tourist destination known for its natural beauty. Standing on a cliff overlooking the ocean, Alex felt a sense of peace and accomplishment. He thought about how far he had come, from struggling with English in his small village to teaching in a foreign country. As Alex became more confident in his role, he began mentoring new teachers at Bright Horizons Academy. He shared his own experiences and offered advice on how to navigate the challenges of teaching abroad. One new teacher, Lisa, was struggling to adapt to life in South Korea. She often felt homesick and overwhelmed by the cultural differences. "I don't think I'm cut out for this," she confessed to Alex one evening. Alex listened patiently and then said, "I felt the same way when I first arrived. It takes time to adjust, but you'll get there. Focus on the little victories, like the first time a student smiles because they understand something you taught them. Those moments make it all worth it." Over time, Lisa found her footing, and she later told Alex that his encouragement had made a huge difference. Inspired by the impact he was making, Alex decided to give back to his community back home. He partnered with a local organization to create an online program for students in his village who wanted to learn English but didn't have access to quality resources. Through the program, Alex offered free virtual English classes and shared tips on how to prepare for the TOEFL. Many of his students were amazed to learn that their teacher had once struggled with English himself. One student, a boy named Arjun, emailed Alex after passing his TOEFL. "You showed me that it's okay to fail," Arjun wrote. "Because of you, I didn't give up." Years later, Alex returned to his village for a visit. He was greeted by friends, family, and former classmates who were amazed by his transformation. Many of them had doubted him when he first started studying for the TOEFL, but now they saw him as a source of inspiration. During his visit, Alex was invited to give a talk at his old school. Standing in front of a room full of students, he shared his story. "I want you to know that failure isn't the end," he told them. "It's just a step on the path to success. If I can do it, so can you." As Alex settled into his life in South Korea, he began to form deeper connections with the people around him. His colleagues at Bright Horizons Academy became like a second family, supporting him as he navigated the ups and downs of teaching in a foreign country. One of Alex's closest friends was Yoonji, a fellow English teacher who had grown up in Seoul. Yoonji was kind and patient, often helping Alex understand cultural nuances or guiding him through tricky situations, like how to properly bow in formal settings or how to navigate the complex subway system. "You're adjusting well," Yoonji said one day over coffee during their break. "But you need to try more Korean food. You can't live on convenience store snacks forever." Alex laughed. "I'm working on it. Just don't make me eat anything too spicy." Their friendship grew over shared meals and conversations about teaching. Yoonji often shared her own struggles with learning English, which made Alex feel less alone in his journey. "Everyone struggles with something," she told him. "The important thing is that we keep trying." One weekend, while exploring a traditional market in Seoul, Alex met a man named Daniel, an expat from Canada who had been teaching in South Korea for over a decade. Daniel was in his mid-40s, with a relaxed demeanor and a wealth of experience. "You're new here, aren't you?" Daniel said, noticing Alex's hesitant attempts to order food from a street vendor. "Let me guess, you're an English teacher." Alex nodded, and the two struck up a conversation. Daniel shared stories about his own early struggles and offered advice on how to make the most of the experience. "The key," he said, "is to embrace the culture. Don't just teach, learn. Let this place change you." Those words stuck with Alex. He realized that while he had spent so much time focusing on his teaching, he hadn't fully embraced the opportunity to learn from the culture around him. One of the most unexpected developments in Alex's journey was meeting Ji-yeon, a librarian at a nearby community center. Alex first met Ji-yeon when he visited the center to look for English books to recommend to his students. Ji-yeon was quiet but warm, with a quick smile that put Alex at ease. "You're a teacher?" she asked, scanning the books he had chosen. "That's admirable. Teaching isn't easy." Alex laughed. "It's definitely a challenge, but I love it. What about you? Do you enjoy working here?" Ji-yeon nodded. "Books have always been my escape. I like helping others find stories that inspire them." Over time, Alex found excuses to visit the library more often, and their conversations grew longer. Jiyeon was curious about Alex's journey, and he shared his struggles with the TOEFL and his dream of teaching abroad. Jiyeon admired his determination. "It's not easy to keep going after so many failures," she said. "You should be proud of yourself." Their friendship slowly deepened into something more. Jiyeon introduced Alex to her favorite parts of Seoul, taking him to hidden cafes and quiet parks. For the first time in years, Alex felt a sense of balance in his life. He wasn't just working toward a goal, he was living in the moment. As Alex became more experienced, he started taking on additional responsibilities at Bright Horizons Academy. He was asked to lead workshops for new teachers and help design the school's English curriculum. While he was honored by the trust his supervisors placed in him, the added workload was overwhelming at times. There were days when Alex felt stretched too thin. Balancing his teaching schedule, curriculum planning, and his personal life left little time for rest. He began to feel the early signs of burnout, exhaustion, irritability, and a sense of being perpetually behind. One evening, after a particularly difficult day, Alex called Emily, his mentor from Canada. "I feel like I'm failing again," he admitted. "I thought passing the TOEFL was the hard part, but this feels even harder." Emily listened patiently before responding. "Alex, you're not failing. You're growing. Growth is uncomfortable, but it's also necessary. Remember why you started this journey. Focus on the impact you're making, not just on your students, but on yourself." Her words resonated with Alex. He realized that he needed to set boundaries and prioritize self-care. He began carving out time for activities that brought him joy, like writing, exploring the city, and spending time with Jiyeon. One of Alex's most rewarding challenges came in the form of a student named Sora. Sora was a quiet girl who often sat in the back of the classroom, rarely participating. When Alex reviewed her assignments, he noticed that she struggled with basic grammar and vocabulary. During a parent-teacher meeting, Sora's mother confided in Alex. "She's very shy," she said. "She doesn't believe she's good at anything." Alex took it as a personal mission to help Sora build her confidence. He started by giving her small, manageable tasks in class, like reading a sentence aloud or answering a simple question. When she succeeded, he made sure to praise her efforts. Over time, Sora began to open up. One day, she stayed after class to show Alex a poem she had written in English. It was simple but heartfelt, and Alex could see how much effort she had put into it. "This is beautiful, Sora," he said. "You have a talent for expressing yourself. Keep writing." By the end of the semester, Sora's confidence had grown significantly. She even volunteered to read her poem during a school event, earning a round of applause from her peers. Watching her on stage, Alex felt a surge of pride. Moments like these reminded him why he had pursued teaching in the first place. As Alex approached his third year in South Korea, he began to think about the bigger picture. He loved teaching at Bright Horizons Academy, but he wanted to find ways to make an even greater impact. Inspired by Sarah's video that had once motivated him, Alex decided to create a YouTube channel to share his own story and offer tips for English learners. His first video, titled "Failed TOEFL 10 Times, Now Teaching Abroad," quickly gained traction. Viewers from around the world left comments thanking Alex for his honesty and encouragement. "Your story gives me hope," one viewer wrote. "I failed the TOEFL twice, but I'm not giving up." Alex began uploading weekly videos, covering topics like study tips, common English mistakes, and strategies for staying motivated. He also shared stories from his classroom, highlighting the challenges and joys of teaching abroad. Encouraged by the success of his YouTube channel, Alex decided to write a book about his journey. The book, titled From Failure to Fulfillment, A Teacher's Journey, combined personal anecdotes with practical advice for overcoming obstacles. Writing the book was a cathartic experience, allowing Alex to reflect on how far he had come. When the book was published, it received positive reviews from readers and educators alike. Many praised Alex for his vulnerability and the actionable tips he provided for language learners. As Alex's time in South Korea neared its end, he began to consider his next steps. He loved teaching but felt ready for a new challenge. After much reflection, he decided to pursue a master's degree in education, with the goal of becoming an advocate for language learners on a global scale. Before leaving South Korea, Alex held a farewell party for his colleagues and students. Jiyeon, now his girlfriend, promised to visit him wherever he went next. "You've inspired so many people here," she said. "I can't wait to see what you do next." Leaving South Korea was bittersweet for Alex. He had built a life there, strong friendships, a fulfilling career, and a deep connection to the culture. But he knew it was time to take the next step in his journey. With his experience as a teacher and his growing passion for language education, Alex decided to pursue a master's degree in education with a focus on linguistics and second language acquisition. Alex was accepted into a prestigious university in the United States. Moving to a new country brought back memories of his early struggles with English. Although he was now fluent and confident, being in an academic environment where everyone spoke English as their first language was initially intimidating. During his first semester, Alex often doubted himself. His classmates were articulate and seemed to grasp complex theories with ease. Meanwhile, Alex found himself rereading academic papers multiple times to fully understand them. One evening, while working on a research paper, Alex called Jiyeon, who was still in South Korea, for reassurance. "I feel like I don't belong here," he admitted. "Everyone is so much smarter than me." Jiyeon's voice was calm and steady. "Alex, don't compare your journey to theirs. You've overcome so much to get here. You have a unique perspective that no one else has. Trust yourself." Her words gave Alex the strength to keep going. Slowly but surely, he began to find his footing. He realized that his struggles with learning English and teaching it to others gave him insights that his classmates didn't have. His professors noticed this too, often praising him for his thoughtful contributions to class discussions. For his master's thesis, Alex decided to focus on the role of motivation and resilience in language learning. He wanted to explore why some students, like himself, were able to persevere through repeated failures while others gave up. His research involved interviewing English learners from diverse backgrounds, including immigrants, international students, and language enthusiasts. Listening to their stories reminded Alex of his own journey. Many of them spoke about the emotional toll of failure, but also about the joy and pride they felt when they finally succeeded. Alex's thesis was well received, and his professor encouraged him to present his findings at an international education conference. Standing on stage in front of hundreds of educators, Alex shared his story and his research. "Failure isn't the end," he told the audience. "It's a stepping stone." As educators, we have the power to help our students see failure not as a roadblock, but as a part of the journey. The audience gave him a standing ovation. For the first time, Alex felt not just like a teacher, but like a leader in the field of education. While Alex was pursuing his master's degree, his relationship with Ji-yoon continued to grow despite the physical distance. They kept in touch through daily video calls, sharing updates about their lives and supporting each other through challenges, planning for the future. During one of their calls, Ji-yoon brought up the topic of their future. "What happens after you graduate?" she asked. "Do you want to come back to South Korea, or are you thinking of staying in the US?" Alex hesitated. He hadn't made any concrete plans yet, but he knew one thing for sure: he wanted Ji-yoon to be a part of his future. "I'm not sure where I'll end up," he said. "But wherever it is, I want us to be together." Ji-yoon smiled. "We'll figure it out. As long as we're both willing to make it work, we can handle anything." After a year of being apart, Alex and Ji-yoon finally reunited during his winter break. Ji-yoon flew to the US to visit him, and they spent 2 weeks exploring his university town and nearby cities. One snowy evening, as they walked through a park illuminated by Christmas lights, Alex turned to Ji-yoon and said, "Thank you for believing in me, even when I didn't believe in myself. I wouldn't be here without you." Ji-yoon squeezed his hand. "You've always had the strength inside you, Alex. I just helped you see it." As Alex neared the end of his master's program, he began thinking about how he could use his experiences to inspire and help others on a larger scale. He didn't want his story to end with his own success. He wanted to empower others to achieve their dreams too. Building on the success of his YouTube channel and blog, Alex launched an online platform called Global Learners Network, GLN. The platform provided free resources for English learners, including video lessons, practice tests, and motivational content. It also featured forums where learners could connect, share their struggles, and support each other. Alex's platform quickly gained traction, attracting users from all over the world. Many of them were inspired by his story and felt encouraged to keep pursuing their goals. One user, a teenager from Brazil named Luisa, wrote to Alex, "I was ready to give up on English after failing my TOEFL twice, but your videos made me realize that it's okay to fail. I just passed my test, and now I'm applying to universities in the US. Thank you for everything." Messages like these reminded Alex of why he had started his journey in the first place. In addition to running GLN, Alex began traveling to give talks and workshops at schools, universities, and conferences. He shared his story of perseverance and offered practical advice for language learners and educators. During one workshop, a young teacher asked Alex, "What's the most important lesson you've learned from your journey?" Alex thought for a moment before responding. "That failure is a teacher. Every time I failed, I learned something new, about English, about myself, and about what it takes to succeed. If you can embrace failure as part of the process, there's nothing you can't achieve." After graduating with his master's degree, Alex was offered a job as an educational consultant for an international organization that focused on improving language education around the world. The role allowed him to combine his passion for teaching with his desire to make a global impact. Before starting his new job, Alex returned to South Korea to visit Bright Horizons Academy and reconnect with his former students and colleagues. Walking through the school's hallways brought back a flood of memories. He visited Minji, who was now in high school and planning to study abroad. "You inspired me, teacher," she told him. "Because of you, I believe I can do anything." Hearing those words filled Alex with pride. He realized that his journey wasn't just about his own success, it was about the ripple effect of his actions and the lives he had touched along the way. During his visit, Alex took Ji-yoon to a quiet park where they had often gone for walks during his time in Seoul. As the sun set, he got down on one knee and said, "Jiyeon, you've been my rock through everything. I can't imagine my life without you. Will you marry me?" With tears in her eyes, Jiyeon said yes. As Alex reflected on his journey, from failing the TOEFL 10 times to teaching abroad, earning a master's degree, and inspiring others, he realized that every setback had been a stepping stone to something greater. His failures had taught him resilience, and his successes had shown him the power of perseverance. Alex's story wasn't just his own, it belonged to everyone who had ever struggled, failed, and dared to try again. He knew that no matter where life took him, he would continue to share his message: failure isn't the end. It's a new beginning.